First of all, thanks for inviting me. Yeah, what is KILT? What are we doing with KILT? So KILT is pretty old project, already 5.5 years old. KILT is around digital identity. So digital identity means, like identity always means, two different things. There's one thing we call identifier, which is in the real world more your face, your fingerprint, your signature. And in the real world, that was totally decentralized already because you made your face, you made your fingerprint, you made your signature. No government, no company, no one gave it to you. It is totally under your control. And this is only part of an identity. It's the identifier. It's there to identify you as a person. But this is not enough. Your identity is much more. So now when you have this identifier, you start adding credentials to that. That can be your passport, but that can also be your driver's license, your university degree, your, I don't know, library card, anything which comes from a trusted entity and which allows you to do certain things or which certifies that you can do something. And that's actually a quite nice process we had in the physical world, because the credentials are normally with you, right? You have them in your wallet and you decide when to show them this and to whom to show them and for what purpose. And you could even at some credentials put your finger on top of some information that you don't want to share because it's not necessary. And they're always then linked to those very, very personal identifiers. So your passport has a picture of your face in it that has a reason. And so that's actually a fantastic, very scalable, very privacy preserving concept. And in the internet, this got broke because now we all have digital identities which are based on the Facebook database entry, where they hold the identifier and they hold the credentials, which is not good. So this is one of the fundamental flaws in the internet. And not only KILT, but also a lot of other companies teamed up in 2017 and so on to build the Decentralized Identity Foundation, where we all, so including IBM, Microsoft, and these guys, and noticing that there's something wrong and that we have to find a technological alternative for those database things like Facebook. And this was a huge research endeavor which went on like 5 years or so until we finally got standards now. So we have industry standards now, signed off by the W3C, which is the guys which also brought us HTML and HTTP, so pretty prominent. The standards we have are called DID, Decentralized Identifiers, and VCs, Verifiable Credentials. And what is KILT? That was a lot of general purpose talk. What is KILT? KILT is the blockchain implementation of these two standards. And this is what we have built in parallel to the standardization. We've been part of the standardization process, but we also implemented the stuff. We went live with the network in 2021. And since then, we are seeking adoption, building new functionalities, talking, of course, a lot with the users, getting new requirements in where nobody thought about. Newest thing is, for example, that we added functionality for giving DIDs not only to persons and machines, but also to virtual goods like NFTs. So all these functionalities are growing and growing more. So the system is growing and the functionality and the purpose is also growing. Well, it's just, I don't know if it has any advantages or so. It is just totally different. So normally if you open a bank account or if you participate in an ICO or something, you will need a KYC, which is totally okay, I think. Because otherwise it goes all into a direction where there's a lot of fraud. And I mean, even with the normal stuff, there's enough fraud, so we don't need to make it not totally anonymous now. But there's use cases out there where you don't need really a government type KYC, but where it is just enough or much more interesting even to know your social identifiers. So, for example, if I'm in a gaming situation and I want to play with some guy in China who's apparently a very important gamer in this game, but I don't know really if I play with this guy or maybe with someone who's supposed to be this guy, then it doesn't make sense for me to do a KYC with this guy, because then I may have an address in China, but if he plays wrong and I'm really mad at that, I can't call the Chinese police and say, hey, please go to the house of this guy and do something. This will not help. So KYC doesn't help in that situation. But if I had the social identifiers of this person who I'm playing with, like the Discord account he uses, or the Twitter account, and the Twitter account, and the email address, and maybe, don't know, his GitHub account, then I can start warning people about this fraudulent person, which gives me much more power, and which makes it much more unlikely that someone who's fraudulent is actually engaging in the game with me. So here, social identifiers are more important than KYC credentials. And this is what we call the social KYC. This is a service which basically asks you to prove that you own certain channels. So you can go there with email. So email is quite easy to work around. So maybe an email credential is not too valuable. Twitter is a little bit more complicated to work around, but could be hacked. But can I hack your email, your Twitter, your Discord, and your GitHub at the same time? Probably not. So if you present me all those 4 credentials, then I can be pretty sure that the person I'm talking with is actually this person. And this service, Social KYC, uses KILT because they are issuing verifiable credentials, like you are owning this Twitter account. This credential is then stored in the KILT Wallet on my computer and or your computer, and I can and you can then show it to, for example, me. And this is functionality which KILT provides, because KILT is the infrastructure for the digital identity. The first good question, because why don't we just use one of the other wallets, right? If we would just have coins, that would make total sense. But if you look at the wallet that you have in your pocket, I have one here, and if you look at it, there's sometimes there's money in here. Yeah, there's money. But apart from the money, we also have this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing, and those are credentials. Normal wallets can't hold credentials. That's a bad thing. So what you need for displaying the power of KILT is actually an identity wallet which can hold your DID, which can sign with your DID, and which can hold the credentials and which can also show the credentials, right? Other than also, of course, holding KILT coins. But it's a little bit more functionality, or a lot of more functionality that is in the Sporon. And of course, as when you make a project like KILT, you cannot expect like every wallet manufacturer to start adding credentials in the KILT way or in the standardized way to their wallet. I think this will come later, but of course this takes time. So we have to start somewhere. And so this is why we built Sporon. So Sporon is it's from us. It's a small wallet application which can hold more than coins. What we have to understand that it's going to be solved gradually. So it's not like, so Web3, so if you dig into Web3, you are normally totally amazed and to say, yeah, this is the future and probably tomorrow is going to happen. And then Web2 is history. This is not the case, because when you look at Web2, there's also a lot of Web1 still there, which is just sending and not being able to interact. So Web2 will not go away. This is the first thing that we have to learn. Web3 is going to be an addition to it. I think it's in the end, maybe in 10 years or so, it's going to be bigger than Web2, but Web2 will still be there. So Web3 is basically taking the bare necessities of the user and democratizing them in a certain way, like storage, like identity, like ownership, like payment. These things shall not be in the hand of one company, but they shall be in the hand of networks. So that is basically the idea of Web3. So is this going to happen very quickly? We see it happening here and there now, which is good. So even bigger companies start thinking about it, sometimes start building on top of it, and also start launching on it. So so the idea in the industry is very well accepted, I would say. From government side, not that much, but from industry side, it starts to get accepted because they all see the problem that we are solving, right? So if you are a company and you want to build a service which is therefore a variety of people. And for example, you need identity in that. Will you take the Facebook approach and put this to a login with Facebook thing, knowing that the actual customer connection is then linked to Facebook? Or would you prefer to have the customer be autonomous and manage his own data and just use your service because it's good? The second choice is for modern thinking companies the better way, actually. This is why we see adoption now also in the industry world. Because it is just, you don't have a login into a company, you have a login into a standard. And logging into a standard is not a problem for people and shouldn't be.